Howdy folks, welcome back to Boondockery. A couple months ago, and right now it's almost the end of August, I purchased a complete hammock camping kit. Tarp, hammock, all the accessories and everything from Onewind. Onewind Outdoors. And I've had a lot of time in the woods with it now. And what I want to do today is I want to share my thoughts on the individual components, one video at a time. And today I'm going to be covering the hammock. Now the first part of the hammock setup I'm going to talk about are the tree straps. And the tree straps actually came in a little plastic bag, but I ordered a bunch of extra tent stake bags as part of my order, and that's what I'm keeping mine in now. The straps themselves are actually very well made. They're fairly thick. Take a look at the stitching there. The construction looks pretty good. The length, the overall length, is very adequate for just about any situation you'd be in. I mean, you could really extend this out to maybe 15-20 feet with both of the straps. Where I'm camping right now, I mean, I have probably 6 feet of excess easily on each strap, and they're pretty durable, and they work exactly like a normal tree strap would. One of the things that they have added, now granted this is not a monumental thing, but it is a good thing. They have included an elastic band, so you can actually tuck in your excess strap once you have it cinched into your hammock. I'm going to go ahead and put these on the trees so I can put up the hammock. Now I'm going to be putting the little bag on here as well so I don't lose it. Now the hammock isn't really anything remarkable whatsoever. It's incredibly similar to Hennessy's hammock design because they make the bottom entry hammock and the side entry hammock. This is very similar to the Hennessy side entry hammock. It comes with this double-sided bag, which a viewer told me this is called a bishop's bag. So I've received a little bit of education, which I deeply appreciate. I really honestly think the only reason that you would use or manufacture a bishop's bag for any of your products just simply because of the ease of manufacturing. I have tried to make rounded bottom, flat bottom water bottle pouches and things like that, and it is a chore. Let me tell you, doing something like this is extremely easy, and I'll be making a few of these for my water bottles now that I have a better idea of how to do it. Now I'm going to go ahead and run the straps through these buckles, and once I have that done, I'm going to point out some of the features that I have noticed about the hammock. I said, they had that little elastic band up here to run your excess through. And that just keeps that from flopping around and getting in your way when you maneuver around your hammock. And yeah, it probably could be made with a little more substantial material, but it definitely does the job. Now this particular model is called the Tempest, and it's 11 foot, and even though the bungee tie-outs on either side are symmetrical, it lays just like an asymmetrical hammock. The way it's designed, you'll get a more comfortable sleep if you lay more at a diagonal. I've tried it both, and laying it slightly at a diagonal seems to work a whole lot better. There are a few features on this particular model. They have a lot of different hammocks. This one is 11 foot. It's a single layer, which means there's no pocket for you to put any type of insulation between the bottom of the hammock and the inner layer of the hammock. It's completely covered with a zippable and unzippable bug net. This particular bug net, however, does not zip completely off. It will zip almost all the way off, and the zippers actually work pretty well. I haven't had any issues with snagging or anything like that. And it will zip or unzip all the way to one side with about 3 inches actually still being connected. And the reason that is like that is so you can actually store your hammock either in the bag that comes along with it, or you can also store it in what they call their peak hammock, and that way you can use it pretty easily in the winter months as well. However, it has been very buggy this year, so I've been using it, and the fact that I haven't had any issues with it snagging has been a blessing. I have had a lot of either tents or hammocks with bug nets, or bug nets in general, that aren't attached to the hammock getting snagged and being an issue. And they aren't YKK zippers, but they're okay. I've had a lot worse. Now along the zipper line of the hammock, there are plastic clips. And the video on the website says that these are designed to clip in to the underquilt. The only one of those that will clip into the underquilt that I purchased is the center one. However, the bungee, there is no connection whatsoever for the bungee to go in. There's only the webbing loop, which is made out of the exact same fabric that the hammock is made of, and that is connecting to the plastic bit. Now if you use bungee cord and I were to tie through that loop, tie it nice and tight, that is eventually going to, through friction, cut through that. So what I've done is I've just gone ahead and tied through the attachment section of that little plastic clip to the webbing loop, and that's the only way I think that that's going to last. So therefore it makes connecting that into the underquilt extremely difficult, if not impossible. It's all right, I figured it out. I have another way to do it. The internal area of the hammock has an internal ridge line. Again, this is just like Hennessy's design, and Hennessy's had their design for a very long time, so I'm certain that Onewind borrowed it. The interior ridge line is made of Dyneema. It is a whoopee sling. Now, I didn't know nothing from whoopee nothing. So I had to go to the Innermost Net and watch a couple videos on how the whoopee sling actually works. Well, I tried adjusting it to where the whoopee sling was good and tight before I got into it. And as a result, it pulled in the ends of the hammock. So as opposed to having that nice 30-degree angle for your hammock, well, we were a lot more like this, and that made sleeping in it much more difficult. So what I've decided to do from now on is I will lay in the hammock and will adjust the whoopee line accordingly to where I have the rigidity that I need to get in there. On the whoopee sling ridge line, it came with two pre-established Prusik knots with a little rubberized coating on it. And this is the bag that actually comes with the hammock, is like a free gift, I guess. But that's a really nice storage area. And I actually put my sidearm in here, and it fits perfectly. It's right where I need it to be if I need it, and it's up out of my way. And I have an accessory, which is the peak hammock, and I'll explain that in another video. And this hammock also comes with two extra of the Prusik knots, and that's what I use to put on the peak hammock. I'm going to go ahead and get in this and adjust the ridge line, and then come back so you can see it to where it's to the tension that it's supposed to be when you're laying in it. Now, if I were to be laying in it, this is much more snug. I found out the hard way that any of the accessories you want to hang from the ridge line, you have to hang it on the opposite side of the adjustment portion of the whoopee sling, because things that will push into that will allow it to loosen, and anything you have hanging on your ridge line is going to be laying on your chest when you're finished. So I lay in it with my head over by the whoopee sling adjustments and adjust it to the tension I need it to be, and then I will lay with my head at the opposite end, so that way I can access the pouches I have hanging on the ridge line when I need it. And so far, looking at all the stitching, I don't see any areas of concern. Every once in a while I'll buy something and I say, oh wow, that's some pretty shoddy craftsmanship there. Not really buying that. It's not the best sewing I've ever seen, but I don't see any issues in it that's going to be a potential problem for me anytime soon, if at all. If for whatever reason you don't like having the whoopee sling ridge line in there, you can access it to remove it. On the ends, on both ends, there is a little cover that goes over that. That also prevents any critters from crawling down inside there. And you just simply tie that closed to prevent that from happening. But if you want to access that as far as removal of the whoopee sling, you can do that there. That's the only way you'd be able to do it. Everything else in through here is completely closed. Now I've got the guy lines, the bungee guy lines, spread pretty far out on this. I like having it in the summer to where it's pretty wide open. It's not wrapping around me, it's pulled away from me. In the winter, I would stake those to where it just barely has it open. That way I'm cradled with the hammock and the underquilt. But as far as the summer months go, having it really open and flat works out really well. Like I was saying, I use this bag here to have my sidearm in. It's right where I can get it, and it's not in my way, it's not laying on me. And I can also hang other things on here. The little hammock peak hammock, that's where I put my pocket litter and stuff. I'll show you more about that later, but it's fairly comfortable. Right now I'm laying perfectly in line between the two trees. If I lay a little more like this, a little more of a diagonal, it's just a little bit more comfortable. You don't feel the pressure of the center of the hammock on your back, and it's a fairly comfortable hang. But all in all, I mean, it's a basic, typical hammock. One of the accessories that I purchased for the hammock was something called hammock sleeves. Years ago, the very first wild camping hammock that I purchased was a DD hammock, and they had a product called a snake skin, and I purchased it. And for that hammock, the snakeskin worked absolutely fantastic. I loved it. It was a single piece. Well, Onewind's hammock sleeves are two pieces. I'm going to go ahead and put them in position and show you how they work. Now, the hammock sleeve, and I'm going to call it that because that's what I originally purchased on the website. When I first ordered this, they called this a hammock sleeve, and I had purchased a DD snakeskin for my hammock years ago when I bought it, and I was thinking, well, they didn't use the term snakeskin because it might have been proprietary or whatever. But when I ordered this, that was what it was called, as a sleeve. I just checked their website, and now they call this the hammock snakeskin, in parentheses, sleeve. Interesting. Anyway, it's shaped just like a shirt sleeve that had been cut off of a shirt. Up toward the shoulder, it's really big. Down toward the wrist, you have the smaller cuff. The smaller section stays down here. The larger section stays up here. And the purpose for this is to protect your hammock. And according to them, I've not tried it yet, but I'm going to. I'm going to, probably for my next video. You can have your underquilt and top quilt attached or in it as well. And they say it's big enough to slide down and to protect those, just in case you're in a wet situation, whether it's snow or rain with driving winds. You have your tarp. That way nothing's going to get in and get any of that stuff wet. I'm going to go ahead and show you how the rest of it goes together, and then we'll be moving on. Now, for protection, I can see this might having some usefulness and some practicality. It's just more stuff though, and it's more stuff you have to put on your straps and things like that as you go. I guess the more you do it, the less of a issue that would be. But I think the more you complicate the plumbing, the easier it is to stop up the sink. And if there was some way they could have done this type of thing to maybe built into the hammock itself as opposed to a separate piece. But this is what it looks like when it's deployed. This sleeve is the openings in here, and I pulled this sleeve here over to overlap that, so there's nothing that's going to be able to get in there. But that is the hammock sleeve, but now it's the hammock snakeskin, in parentheses, sleeve. Well, after using this thing for the past several weeks, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I like it. I don't have any issues with the hammock. I think the hammock is pretty well thought out, very lightweight, looks to be fairly well made, fairly durable. I'm going to look forward to maybe upgrading the underquilt and top quilt for winter weight stuff and trying this out in the winter. Now, I do have other hammocks that I do like better than this, and but this one, I mean, it's okay. The hard part for me with this is to getting used to using the accessories, because all of my other kits are fairly simple and there's not a whole lot of extra stuff. But I'll be perfectly honest, I do like some of the accessories, like the little peak hammock. This ridgeline is pretty cool, but I had one on my Hennessy and I used it in a similar way. But I have a gear loft. I'll do on my accessories, I'll cover the gear loft. But yeah, I like some of the accessories in the hammock sleeve / snake skins. I think I probably liked DD's a little bit better as far as the ease of deployment from one side to the other. But with this, the sleeve / snakeskin can cover at least the summer weight stuff. The underquilt and the top quilt being in there, my DD snakeskin would not have been able to do that. It just had enough room for the hammock. But yep, I'm liking it, and I'm going to be continuing to use it for a while. And you know, maybe after I get a year's use out of it, I'll actually be able to do a proper review and let you know how it holds up over time through constant use. So I've got a few more videos in this series I'm going to be doing. I think the next one I'm going to be doing it on the tarp. And I'll do one on the underquilt and top quilt. And I might squeeze accessories into those videos as opposed to having a separate video on the accessories. You've seen it in some of my other videos. Now I've given you a closer look at it, given you my opinion of it thus far. So if you were really wanting a review, I'm sorry, that's not really a review, but it's the closest thing I can do with the time I've had with it. So if this was helpful to you, fantastic, let me know. If you have any other recommendations for hammocks and things like that, because all of this was purchased because of recommendations from you guys. Let me know if you have any particular really cool stories about your hammock camping. Let me know those too. Put them down in the comment section below. Well, folks, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Howdy folks, welcome back to Boondockery. A good little while ago, probably howdy folks, welcome to Boondockery. I purchased a complete summer season hammock kit. I purchased a complete summer hammock hammock camping kit. Howdy folks, welcome back to Boondockery. A couple of months ago, now the hammock isn't anything remarkable, and this isn't the hammock. You'll get equal amount of not 100% certain that this is something that I would endorse completely or not. There's a few things I still want to do as far as no. after using it for the past few weeks, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I'm not 100% on it, but I do like it. I like it pretty well. I have other hammocks I like better. There's just, I'm not used to so much stuff as accessories. Now, I'll say that the accessories are pretty cool. They're pretty convenient, but or at least most of them. But it's just a matter of, I guess, working with it long enough to where all of the pieces fall together into the whole, and not the whole, but the whole. See what I'm saying? Yeah, not the whole, but the whole. Yeah, because it fell in the hole. I mean, how deep is the hole, really? Yeah. Monumental questions. And John, you went there again. Shut up.